Yoshi.
And I am Renee, and welcome to the 40 Spot, where we discuss the highs and lows and everything in between of being 40. So please like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you're on YouTube so that you do not miss any upcoming episodes that we are having. And you can always catch us on the replay wherever you catch your podcast at.
All right, and on this week's episode, we will be discussing adulting. So much fun. What is it? What does it really take, and what lessons have we learned along the way? But first, we're going to get into our While We Were Out segment. This is where we discuss news, entertainment, and personal experiences that have occurred since our last show. So first things first. I would say the first thing to talk about, we are both HBCU alums.
Yes.
So much, everybody knows the last 24 hours, maybe 48 hours, the big conversation about prime time.
Deion Sanders.
Yes, Mr. Deion Sanders leaving JSU and going to the University of Colorado. It's University of Colorado, right? Not.
Yeah. I don't know if it's University of Colorado or Colorado University.
I do know it's at PWI.
Yes. And for people who don't know, PWI is primarily white institution, where HBCU is historically Black college or university. JSU stands for Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi. Mm-hmm. He's been there for 3 years, so he's definitely did a lot, not just for their football program, but for the school in general. I will say that. I kind of have mixed feelings. They said that there's a couple of videos that are out there. I did recently see earlier today where they had a video of them at the game, and then it was like, it's this old school song, One Monkey Don't Stop the Show. And then people in the background like, bye Deion, bye Deion, as the same. Leave it to us, as I say. Before there was a Black Twitter, there was just Black people gathering.
Okay, I saw that video, and I don't know if they played it for him or just it was just timing, because the song is real popular right now. Right. I would say I didn't have mixed feelings initially. I was just kind of like, he said he was doing this for the culture, and now you kind of dipping out. But I will say, I watched the video that I guess it was made. And when he spoke to his players long before everyone else knew. Okay. And watching it in its entirety, it made me kind of look at it a little bit different. It seemed very sincere. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different things there, and there's a lot of different things to unpack. And I think a lot of people feel a lot of different ways for their personal experience, right? Okay. Especially being people who went to HBCUs and knowing that the things that have benefited other HBCUs, him being there, so, people had expectations on what would this look like at my school and all these other things. So it's a lot of things out there, but watching him talk to his players, it was just kind of like, okay, I can kind of see what he was saying. And I think he made this statement that coaches usually either, I'm summarizing it because I can't remember exactly what he said. He said they get terminated or they get promoted. Okay. And so basically, and it's true, we've heard where coaches were doing a great job, people are winning, and then they bring in someone else. Something else he brought up when he was talking to his players was that, although he doesn't have the final say, and the other person, I think his name is TJ, doesn't have the final say, is someone who's been working with their program while he was there, and that's the person, his pick to be their coach. And another thing he said, I was like, there's something to think about. At schools where these major schools, I don't know if they D1 child, I don't know all the lingo, but top 5 or whatever, there really hasn't been historically, when a Black head coach leaves, them actually replacing with another Black head coach. So having an opportunity for another Black head coach at this particular school. So I think he maybe is trying to, pass the baton. He said that he really wants TJ to take it over because he feels like, he's someone who knows the team, knows the program, and knows that somebody from the outside. He feels like somebody from the outside coming in like wouldn't understand. No, this is how this works. This is how
Okay.
we flow. This is how our team is. So watching it, I would say it kind of shifted kind of what I was thinking. I knew that he was making 300,000 there. They offered him 5 million at Colorado, which is crazy. He says he's not doing it for a bag. He was like, I never chased a bag. The bag always chased me. I do things, I was following opportunity.
Flag on the play, because I
Now,
remember the commercial. It must be money. Come on now. I
but it
know
was
it's
talking
about
about
you,
people,
but still.
but it was also talking about people liking him, right?
Okay.
It must be the
Yeah.
money, not about him, going for the money. So, um, it's interesting. But of that $300,000, I forgot about this, so I'm not gonna take credit. Like, yeah, I knew this, but just seeing everybody talk about things, I remembered this when I read it that he actually donated half of his salary to go to things in the school.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think people did expect him to stay longer, maybe
Right.
not forever. I don't know a lot about football and college football programs and what they look like, but from what you hear on the news, a lot of times, or like, announcements and stuff like different colleges winning, a lot of times you do find that coaches at, I guess, higher performing schools are staying longer as well. So I
True.
think that's the
Phil,
part that kind of gets people like,
think about kind of Phil Jackson with the Chicago Bulls. He just kept winning, kept winning, kept winning. He turned the program around. But I guess if you take just the context of being promoted and you come to do a job to set up something better, it's like kind of with like the US education system with failing schools. They will take a principal and sometimes those upper level staff and move them to a school that's not doing well and turn it around, and once they get like really really get going, then they move them to somewhere else,
right.
because it's kind of like you can do more good being here and then going to the next place, next place, next place.
And I
So
think where a lot of people are kind of, especially even my initial reaction, and I won't say I'm completely on that side of like, oh, go da da da, but it's like you're leaving HBCU and going to PWI.
Not
So
like going from Jackson State to the Florida A&M or
right, like you're
somewhere
not
like
leaving
that.
one program, building it up, and then going to another program and building it up. And another thing he said, he was telling the players, he was like, I don't know what the portal is. So I don't know if that's like when they get to talk about different schools they may move to. The portal opens tomorrow. He's like, y'all don't need to go and run and just jump into it. He said, if y'all have questions, come talk to me. I'm still here to talk to y'all. I'm gonna be here to the end, blah, blah, blah. But it seemed as if he was like, yes, I'm making this move, but this is not the move I think is best for y'all right now.
Okay. Okay. And I think maybe he still makes sure that he has that continuity, because he's more than just a coach to that program and those players.
Right.
So I hope that regardless, email, text, or whatever, that he still have those people. They still are under his wings of guidance.
Right. And I think the biggest thing who it should matter to are the people who've been playing with him. Those are the people, and I mean, I don't know how they feel, and no one has came out and said anything. But if they're fine, you gotta need to go with that.
But just on another positive note before we go, you know what? Sometimes the replacement can be even better. Sometimes it's just laying the groundwork. And some people, they are definitely better when they started out laying a foundation than the continuation of it.
Right.
And so who knows? But I definitely know that with him, his celebrity, his stardom, and I definitely still think that he has a heart for his people, Black people, because you got to go to in the middle of no man's land where you don't been and travel all around the world, where it's just like, yes, I
And it
am
wasn't
gonna
a
watch.
guarantee. Going there wasn't a guarantee for him.
Exactly. And as I say, ain't you going to a place where, guess what, it's going to be these people, because it ain't that many distractions. They're
Right.
in Jackson, Tennessee. I mean, not Jackson, Tennessee, Jackson, Mississippi. So but I think that him doing that, and he still is very well connected in the sports world, that maybe he can try to get out and connect with some other people
Yeah.
to get them. not just to go back to HBCUs and teach, I mean, coach, but maybe it is some PWIs. Maybe it's when you're some of the high school students, schools and stuff. Because I know it's this girl, she graduated with my sister. She married an NFL star, and now he's been coaching at high school. You know, but the thing is, his programs and stuff is doing good. So, I think it can be definitely a win for everybody. Definitely a win for everybody. So one of the other little things, it ain't nothing but a one-liner. Student loans. If you
Since we're
got
talking
the
about schools, huh?
yeah, if you got the email, it's almost like one of those little fake scratch offs, like you don't want $10 million, and then it on the look on the back and say like, oh, this is supported by Mickey Mouse or whatever. You might have got approved, but you got to scroll all the way down.
Man, when I got that email, I was so excited. And it's like, but Congress is playing with your money.
It's like, but it's on delay. It's on delay. You go get it when my ship come in. Excuse me, you own the ship in the seas.
Well,
I'm at the dock. I got on bright colors.
hey, I'm right here.
And guess what? You weren't gonna give me enough to pay it all off, but I still just want him a little nickel or whatever. So we're just gonna continue to pray for all of those who went to school and they still paying for school 20, 30 years later.
I think it's ridiculous that, America being a first world country and we don't have free education.
Absolutely.
Like I can understand if you're going to some type of private school or some entity that is not connected with whatever system is set up for the education, but for it not to be available for everyone, because some states have it, some states have programs, but I think it's just completely ridiculous.
Right.
So, anyway, like you said, one liner.
Wait on it.
Joe, we waiting. Joe, we waiting.
Kamala. Sister girl.
Hello.
Girl sister.
Hello. It's hello.
All right.
Is it pick up? Anyway.
Get on the line.
I'll say one thing. One thing is different between Deion Sanders and our next person, Mr. Kanye West. At least he's not going out talking about I love black people, but you got the most anti-black conversations coming out your mouth.
Well, you know what? As they say, everybody ain't the same shade of black. And maybe it's a certain shade of black that he likes. And maybe it's conditional. I have no idea. But you know what? I would say this. I was a fan of the mid-90s Kanye. Mm-hmm. Not so much after 2005, 2006 Kanye with some of these things. Yes, and for all those who do, quit looking for him to come back. As my mother would always say, some people go crazy and it's a final destination. How many people you really know that came back from crazy? And I really just don't see him coming back from whatever. He's in the second place. People had already said that, and I think he likes it there.
I was just about to say that I think he likes it there and he loves going on his rallies. I call them rallies, right? Because he's going show after show after show and just saying stuff. And sometimes it's almost like he's just talking, but it's the things you're choosing to say. I can ramble. I can go on, honey. I can talk to a wall. However, when I talk to this wall, I'm not going to say stuff that's hurtful to other people and to people who look like me. Like,
if it ain't in you, it can't come at you.
Exactly. And for anyone who's watching, I mean, most people know what's going on in the world with Kanye. We talk about Kanye every week. Maybe we should stop talking about Kanye, but Kanye always has something. He's doing something. But this week he was on, what is that?
Alex Jones. And for people who don't know who this is, Alex Jones was sued and won. Lost the lawsuit against parents from the Sandy Hook school massacre because he was saying that the Sandy Hook massacre, it was a hoax. Mm-hmm. The elementary school where the guy came in, he shot up, he killed a lot of kids and stuff like that. And if I'm not, was it in Colorado? It was somewhere kind of up and around the
I
area.
want to say that, but
I don't quote me, but I want to say it definitely was something up and around that area. But that's who show that he went on, and oddly enough, he had Alex Jones has not been officially canceled, but it just kind of also tell you like, why would you even want to go on a show of such with somebody who has done something so
that's his peers.
egregious?
It's his peers. That is his peer of the like line of thought. That is
Yes,
his.
Omar, he said, yes, it was Colorado. And shout out to Omar. He is tuning in all the way from the Caribbean, from the island of Bonaire,
All
Carolyn Dykes.
right.
Yes, 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 yes. We want to give you love. We thank you for all our views. But guess what? We getting out now that we international. We international. But yes, it's crazy. Just
but
absolutely
what
crazy.
just gonna kind of go back to what he said, just for anyone who didn't watch it. Once again, talking about the Holocaust and Jews, and he brought up Hitler,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, yeah, 6 million Jews didn't die. He said that Hitler was a mobilizer, a great mobilizer. His uniform, like this is all the great things he says about Hitler, and he also turns around and says that he was against black people. Hitler was, but later he thinks he was a great leader. So it's like you're definitely not for black people if you are praising this lunatic who you say in the same line of communication were doing things against black people and Jews. I just think he loves it. Like you said, I think that's just the bottom line. He loves the attention. We are giving him attention. Larger platforms are giving him attention, and that is why he's doing it. And
Exactly.
he is an attention whore.
Yes,
Okay. As long as he's getting
absolutely.
his attention, he will be getting it. Period.
Yes. Again, I really, really it's almost kind of definitely give Donald Trump vibes. So it's just like, hey,
Yeah, that's why
wonder what
Donald,
I
rallies,
can.
Donald Trump love his rallies.
Yes, but not just that. Every time you think, you know what, it can't get no worse than that. Go to sleep, wake up. You ain't even got to go to sleep all night long. You can just take a little nap. And I'm not saying that he does not have some mental illness and stuff like that. But guess what? Even people who have mental illnesses, it's still certain things that they don't think it or believe it. It just don't necessarily just come out in them, because everybody who having a mental episode don't necessarily just talk about aliens, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, he's
And usually people who have a mental illness and they hyper fixate on things, it is because it is an interest for them. So all of these things are an interest for him.
yes,
You don't
yes,
just talk
yes.
about random things. No, these are things that are interests in the feelings and beliefs for him.
True.
You know, but speaking of drama and a little entertainment news, for all the 40-year-olds, we remember Escape. They doing
Yes.
this thing. They've been doing concerts, but they having a little drama.
Yes.
But apparently, this drama is going to be coming out on a television show soon. So I was watching this video, and every answer was kind of like they give a little bit, and they said, "But you'll have to watch. Our reality TV show is coming out." So I'm interested.
Mm. But that is very, very interesting. So for people who don't know about with the drama, they ended up um was performed at the Soul Train Awards, where they was awarded Woman of the Year
Hmm.
um um award. And so they were all supposed to be kind of dressed alike, and then Latorsha, she wore a dress kind of had a green hue to it, where everybody else was kind of looking kind of like they was in like winter white or like a softer gold
Oh, hmm.
type of color. And so it started with that, and then the acceptance speech where she's like, well, if you make it, then bring somebody else up. And it was definitely, some shade and stuff there. So that was the initial start. But I will say this, that Candy, now she's a veteran to the reality world. She's had several spin-offs from Real Housewives of Atlanta.
True.
So I will say this, like she has taken, television and all of these other things out of, to the next level for her benefit. So all of it could have been just done so that, guess what, it gets people talking about them, they popping, they sound
and people
good
want
and
to watch.
amazing.
It could be.
Absolutely.
It
I
could
would
be.
watch the show.
But the thing about even with the dress, in their interview, they were saying that um everything was very secretive. Apparently, Latasha had signed a deal, an independent deal, and so her dress was kind of like secretive. They were trying to all coordinate, and when the picture was sent to them, it wasn't a picture of the dress, it was just just a square, and so to them they said that the color looked like it was right. They were like,
Mm.
it didn't look like it was off. And to be honest, looking at it, I feel like it could be like that. You remember that thing that was on Twitter, like, what color is this dress?
Yes, it was like, was it blue and gold or
Or was that
something else?
pink?
Yeah.
Exactly. And based on the fact that both they were kind of iridescent, like real sparkly, goldy with, like you said, a green hue. It could, the way the picture was taken, it could have looked like it fit the their color scheme or whatever.
Yes.
So it's just interesting that was such a big thing. Like, she has on a totally different dress, and it
Maybe
can't.
she was saying, I can outsing all of them. I don't know, but
I
her
mean,
dress was
but
beautiful.
the thing about it
Everybody
is,
looked it
if
good, but
she was going to have a solo career and someone saw her as an amazing solo act, why hadn't it happened since Escape?
oh,
I'm just saying,
very true. Because
you
the
know,
talent undeniably has always been there.
yeah. So it's something else there, and you can't take away the fact that Escape was an amazing group.
Mhm.
Also, because I know they're doing a concert here in Atlanta, um, one thing they said, I don't know, I'm trying to remember who interviewed it, if it was Tigger in the Morning or like Breakfast Club, but they were also talking about the fact that they'll be doing some shows without her. And they said that she already had booked dates. And so basically, her management will let you know when she can show up. So if she has any conflicting dates, she won't be at the shows. And like the one show that they were taking, they were saying that it was a show that they had agreed to, but something happened. I think remember last year, Tiny and Candy had COVID, so they canceled it. And
Okay.
so it happened with that promoter. Yes, they canceled it, but so they wouldn't have to give money back. It's like, okay, well, we're gonna do the show. They have another show. And what he was like, well, to make it more beneficial, so y'all don't kind of just come out with a wash, that y'all do still make money, we can do some additional shows.
Okay.
They were saying that's where the other shows came from, stuff like that. But it's just interesting, and I'm gonna be watching because, well, number one, I love reality TV. I love Escape, so I like a good kiki. I like some fun shade,
Oh,
not just long and
absolutely.
dirty.
Yes.
You
And
know, some stuff is just like, okay, y'all go too far. But
yeah.
I'm interested in this, how all this plays out.
Absolutely. And speaking of Kiki and stuff, finally been announced. Miss Kiki Palmer, her and her boyfriend, what is his name? Darius Jackson.
I think it's
Um,
Darius. Yeah, I'm not sure the last name.
yeah. They are
It's a
expecting
pop culture better.
a child together.
Mhm.
Um, there have been speculations based off of a couple of pictures and stuff that she had been seen that looked like, hey, she might have a little bump or whatever like that. And but it does not come with a little bit of shady controversy. So his ex made a TikTok video or something, or she went live, and then she said, oh, so you begged me or kind of talked me into getting an abortion.
Mhm.
And then here it is 3 weeks later, you announce to the world that you two are having a baby.
No, I thought it was 3 weeks later they announced that they were together. Because the one I saw was that he left her and then was with Kiki. So it was nice to the world that they were together.
Okay.
Not that they were
Okay.
having a baby.
Yeah, but she did say in the post I seen that he talked her into having an abortion.
Right. I mean, so that's difficult. So I don't have an opinion on the whole talking you into something maybe that she didn't really want to do, especially if she thought this is a decision they were making together. Um, on the other side of that, he didn't want to have a baby with you. I mean, that's what that means. So, however that would have turned out if they had, you
Yeah.
know, maybe it would have been okay or not. So it's I don't know. That's kind of it's kind of like apples and oranges.
But to the same degree, it's kind of one of those things, depending on what their talks had been surrounding that pregnancy and maybe the things that he said, then you end up with someone else, and it's like, y'all having a baby, like for real. I can tell like that's definitely hurtful. And I think any elected abortion doesn't come for the most part as an easy decision.
Right.
So, and that's something that's a what if that you would definitely carry with you for life. So, I mean,
I would feel some type of way,
yeah,
being her
absolutely.
shoes. But I still feel like because it's easy for me to feel this way because I'm not in her shoes. That it's still apples and oranges. When people break up, they break up and they move on. And how they felt when they were with you is different. How they may feel with this person. I mean, it's kind of like Jeannie Mai and um Lord.
You Jeezy.
Thank you, Jeezy. I felt come everything with that. But she didn't want to have kids. Her and her husband got divorced. It was crazy because people were like, "Oh, he's with someone and having a baby." Like that's why they're not together. I'm sure it wasn't the only reason, but that was a big thing for them. And then she turned around. Her next relationship gets married and have a baby.
Jennifer got in there. She started seeing all these other baby mamas and stuff like that. It was like, you know what? Let me get me on the baby because y'all ain't finna be safe.
But for her, was she?
I'm just kidding. I don't know that. That was allegedly.
But she said that, prior to her relationship with Jeezy, she had never felt as
True.
safe in a relationship and safe enough to bring another life into this world. And so, how she felt when she got married, obviously, being in that marriage never healed that wound for her. And then being with Jeezy, she felt like, oh, you know what? I really could do this and see myself. Like, so much so, they were doing IVF. They got they got pregnant in the process of doing IVF. They didn't actually have
Mm,
to do IVF, but so much so that you actually were working to get pregnant.
yeah.
So that is very different from the stance of I don't want no kids.
Oh yeah, yeah. And sometimes that one right person will definitely change your mind about a whole lot of things. And I'm pretty sure she probably did see his interaction as far as him being a father
Right.
versus with her first husband. Neither one of them had children, so it was kind of like, I don't know. And really and truthfully, Jenny Ma, even though she's been around a lot, she hasn't really went into a whole lot as far as what was her upbringing like. So, and and some of it could have been, some of her upbringing and stuff. The reason why she
So I know
first
a
felt,
little bit. I don't know details because I know she has her own page. So I think she like a website. So she does talk a little bit more about it in there. But her upbringing, talking about her relationship with her dad and how her dad was with her mom. And from my understanding, it had a lot to do with her upbringing, what she saw growing up. And so,
mhm,
it's like I never want to have kids.
yeah,
Seeing that and seeing the responsibility and the weight that held for her mom, you know.
mm,
So
mm.
yeah. But before we move on, here's my plea to everyone in Georgia. Hello, can everyone hear me? Please get out.
Georgia, saying Georgia.
Georgia, Georgia. Please get out and vote. Please get out and vote. Um, this is not a very political platform. I mean, we talk about what we think and what we care about, but you know, we don't come in here and try to influence on anyone any particular way. However, in this case, please, can we get Reverend Warnock, please, and not the man who's talking about werewolves and vampires.
What?
He was so. First of all, welcome. In the middle of his speech, literally in the middle of his speech, he was like, "Y'all ever start watching something and then get so hooked in, no matter how bad it is, you gotta watch it all the way through?" He then says, it was a movie about vampires and werewolves, and he talked about how, when he was how the movie was wild and all these other things. And then he went on to his next topic. Like, he literally did not even connect the statement.
Oh my God.
I mean, listen, he may win. If he
Based off these polls, the last polls that I've seen, it was typical of, the midterm elections. It's still, he's
reminiscent of
in
it. Mm-hmm.
he's still in like the low 30s, 33, 34% as far as early voting goes. And Warnock, he's still in like high 50s, low 60s in terms of that. But if he's talking about that, I need somebody to just sneak on in there and let him pee in a cup. We need to see what's in there. 12-panel
Al,
jury.
they don't care what he got in his system. They transplant him from Texas. Say, come on, we got an easy job for you. We got an easy job. Just run and we'll tell you what to do.
Which is so crazy because before then, I know I had not really heard anything from him in the news. Like, he really just
I'm
did
telling
some
you,
type
they
of
say,
resurgence.
hello, Herschel. Yeah, so we got a job for you, my guy. It's super easy. You don't even have to, you don't need experience. Why? No, we'll tell you what to do.
Have you? And did you see the previous president?
Okay, so I'm not a Trump fan. However, the previous president at least had ran some businesses. He at least had some connections. Now, they might have been Russian connections, but at least he had them. I mean,
And politicians knew him. He had always been a big donor, supporter of the Republican Party and other different things. So he wasn't so far from that. Plus, he was able to align himself with people like I don't.
exactly. But
Oh Lord.
so anyway, Georgia, get out and vote.
Take somebody with you to the polls.
Yes, take somebody with you. Not gonna
Not just to be there to chit chat. No, take another voter with you to the polls. If you know that, guess what, they're having some problems, issues, whatever like that. Just just that one day, because early voting has ended, right?
It ended on Friday, and so the election is on Tuesday.
Okay, so Tuesday. Even if you had to be like, look, I'm gonna watch your children while you go and vote, and when you come back, you watch these kids so I can go buddy up with somebody to get out there to vote. Your vote does matter. And I'm gonna say this for all the people that say that it doesn't. Why do they fight so hard and try to change the legislation to keep you from getting to the polls if it did not matter?
If it didn't matter, why do they care if somebody bring you water while you in line?
And this is the thing. Why would somebody spend astronomical amounts of money if it did not matter one way or another?
Exactly. So it
Yes.
matters. They reline, they redline, and say, "Oh, these voters, these constituents are here," and they do it matters, especially local elections. They matter. They matter in ways that we have no idea. There are some ideas we have on how it matters, but they matter in ways that we have no idea how. So many things are connected to who are in these positions. So get out and vote on Tuesday. Because let me tell you why. It's a part of adulting.
Yes.
Voting is a part of adulting. Being responsible, looking outside of yourself, and doing, something that affects you directly and indirectly, and there are people who don't vote and they have their various reasons why they don't. My big reason always and forever will be there are people that came before me who sacrificed not only their life, their time, their money, their bodies, um, so that I can have the right to vote. So I'm going out every time I go, no matter how I'm feeling about an election and what is going on. I am going in their name, in
Mm-hmm.
in their strength. Um, so that's my spiel on that. But you know what I'm saying? Because that's part of being an adult.
It
Period.
is. It definitely is. And also, um, just to add on what is adulting is it's being focused on your legacy, because it's not just about you, it's about what are you doing to change your environment, what are you doing for those around you, how you are affecting those around you,
Yep.
and being consistent in being responsible.
Yep.
So I definitely think so too. And
Go ahead.
that is part of it. And we living in this society that we feel like, hey, I'm 18, I'm grown. Guess what? 18 is a voting age. So guess what? I personally feel that part of graduation needs to be, if you're already 18, sign up for vote. That should be a graduation
And you
requirement.
wonder why they don't do
It's
that
not.
in high school. Some high schools, I would say, some high schools that is a part of what they do. I know when I graduated, they were there. We like when I was a senior in high school, our counselors had those ready when you turned 18.
Oh wow, that's great.
But
But
I
you know
also went
what?
to a predominantly black school. So,
But did you graduate? You went to a private school too, right?
yeah,
So see, some of that, the parents there, probably even before you got there, that was something that was important to them. And
right.
those was part of the policies, procedures, and the plans that they wanted for those children, which not so much in public schools. However, if they have every branch of the military that is there, they have the police department, the fire department, because people that can go there
Okay,
volunteer. Guess what? You can
exactly.
have them people there. Because to
They are
me, I think is just as much, if I can send you to war to fight, and wars are very political.
very. They
And a
all
lot of times people, they don't know what they fighting about. They don't even know how they getting paid. They don't know how, depending on how they vote. Because a lot of military people, they vote Republican because the Republican want to put more money into our national defenses. So that in turns give them more money, which I can understand that. Well, I'm gonna vote for who can give me more money in my check. But at the same time, it could go the other way. You can get somebody else and then they cut it back.
mhm.
So girl,
I love
girl,
it. Anna Smith
yes.
said in the comments to bring your kids to vote so they can see you vote. She said her mom taught her that and showed her the importance of voting just by bringing her with them, and she brings her kids to vote. I think it's amazing that's like, how do kids learn, right? You have your children, you have the adult. Children
Hmm.
won't learn until someone teaches them. So
Yeah.
how do
I
you teach?
remember going voting as a child with my mother, and then I remember going to vote. The last time we had spoke, going to vote and everything with my mother as an adult. Omar said here in Bonaire, that's in the Caribbean, you are automatically registered to vote when you're 18. That is normal here.
It should be
So,
here, but we all know why it's not, because they don't want you to vote. So I'm not
mhm.
gonna bring it to you and say, "Hey, here, could you please fill this out?" Absolutely not. I'm not.
and and that's a huge big bulk of the population. And then that means that in order for, not just here, you have to register one vote, one party or another. And so that means, in order for them, if it's at school, you have to be, it's a requirement, or they go ahead and register you to vote. You have to inform them for whatever the parties are and what it stands for, in
Right.
order to, so they already know. They don't want to have no accountability. But guess what? If you just go and somebody knocking on your door, they go to, it could be outside of the grocery store or something like that, well, then guess what? You signed up, because however you signed up.
Right. And I mean, if you think about it, when President Obama won, he won with the young people vote.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what they don't want. Whether it's Democrat, Republican, belief systems have changed over time from party to party. And I mean, most times I'll be transparent. I usually vote Democrat. But
Mm-hmm.
if there was a Republican that had things on their platform, like I don't care that you have Republican next to your name, if they're doing other things, that's uplifting, whatever. I haven't seen it, but hey, that has been my experience. But they don't want that, and because they've seen it. You've seen it. Young people is what won President Obama the election.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yep.
were like, was I in college? Was I in college? No, I was out of college,
No,
but they were going into college.
it was 2008.
Yeah, yeah. I had to think about that. You know, it's a lot of time just goes.
We was adulting at that
We were
point, but
definitely adulting. We were kind of like mid adulting, right? Because I was still doing a lot of irresponsible.
yeah, but I mean, as far as like the paying of the rent, the light bills, you had things
Honey,
in your name that still is in your name to this day that you still have to pay all of the
bills
time.
is like the first thing when you think about adulting. It's the first thing you be like, you know what? Return this sender. 0
Exactly.
out of 10. Do not recommend.
So funny thing about adulting, when I used to live in Bonaire, and they used to give you like a light bill, electricity bill every month. And then they went and they changed and it was prepaid. Just like a prepaid phone. So it's just like you had to put money. And like they would like you would go to the electric company and you put down whatever how much ever money you want, and they give you a little code. You go back to your house and then you punch in the code and it will upload just like a prepaid card or whatever like that. And I swear,
What if you needed more light? You gotta go put
did
more
you have more money?
money. I'm about to say you gotta put more money on your light bill. So
It was prepaid. It was prepaid. And I
oh,
swear every day that I left, I the only thing that was left running 24/7 was the refrigerator. I unplugged everything because when stuff is plugged in, it's still pulling off electricity. And then, sometimes it's like, oh, okay, I'm sitting up here and then I plug in my laptop and I'm up there and then I look, like you really, really start understanding what kilowatts is and
usage.
stuff, and
When
you
you look
looking
at
at
your
it.
bill, it says usage.
Yeah, at that point, like, guess what? You don't get no bill no more. You can look on your wall because it was just like a little thermostat, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna go to sleep, and then I wake up, and it's what you mean? I don't use 20 kilowatts,
Oh, you can
like.
actually look at something and you
Oh
see
yeah,
how much.
yes, girl,
Oh wow,
yes.
that's intimidating.
Let me tell you this.
Like, oh Lord, I'm about to lose my lights.
Thank God that the God he rolled the sun and flung it in the air. And there, I'm telling you, thank God in the Caribbean, you have so many bright, sunny, beautiful days.
I know that's
And
right.
I believe in curtains. I ain't have a curtain for the first. I did not run my air conditioning because, like, when I was there, and the good thing is, like, I like heat, right? Like, I do better in the summertime and stuff like that. So I don't have to be cold or chill or whatever. Like, and to me, it was like just a nice 80-degree weather, which some people like, oh my God. But it was always very, very breezy and stuff. So it wasn't just overbearing. So during the daytime, I never ran my air. It wasn't until at night, and I used to keep my front door and my back door open the whole time, and I used to kind of sit so I could see both ways just in case something crawled into the house, which stuff would from time to time. And so at nighttime, I closed up everything. I closed the windows and stuff because it didn't have screen in the window, and you didn't want something coming in the window because I remember during rainy season, frogs would come in, and I scared to death, and I hate frogs. But I would close up everything, turn the air conditioner on in my bedroom, shut the door, go take my shower, do all my little stuff, get out the shower, run into the bedroom, finish drying off everything, have my fan on. And after I got cooled off, maybe 15 minutes after all of that, cut the air conditioner off. And I just got the fan on me. Because I already looked up his like, look,
But
this US $60 that does translate to something else. Guess what? Kilowatts is a kilowatt, no matter where you at around the world. That's the thing. So it does not matter. So like I had a clock, like alarm clock, but I only plugged my alarm clock in at nighttime. And I used to have to set it every day.
You gotta
And
do
I
it.
unplugged everything except for the
Let
refrigerator.
me tell you something. That's adulting 101. That's adulting boot camp because you're trying
Survival
to figure out
mode.
how to manage this. Because here, right, you can just run it up and just not pay the bill. Run up the bill. You can put a little something on your bill. You know, but honey, they're like, no, no, can't do
Cause
that.
and like you get into that mode and then it's just like, oh, we need to unplug. It's like, yeah, if I unplug this and stuff like that, you come back home, it's just like you just like, oh, wait a minute. This is running the
Oh, I know
bill up.
it had to be the worst. Coming back home and realizing you didn't unplug something and you see that little leader thing
It
lit.
was gonna go down anyway because of the refrigerator. And
Right.
like I wish I remembered like how much the refrigerator used kilowatts like every day. It's like within like an 8 to 10 hour period. That's
Girl,
why I was
you
just like,
I need to start making sure I unplug everything in here.
I would be up there at the school. I would stay at the school until the library closed. So like I'm up there. If I'm at the house, it's during the daytime. I'll come fix me something to eat. The stove was gas,
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't have to worry about that. But it's
Does the library have air?
yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would have been there too. I'm like, oh
Look,
no, meet me at
look,
the
I already
library.
paid tuition. I already done paid for these lights.
I paid for my air. Oh Lord. I think another piece of adulting too is the looking outside of yourself. You know, children, we always hear children are so selfish. Well, yes, because developmentally appropriateness is children think of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They are wet, take care of me. I'm hungry, take care of me. And they're always kind of looking inward. They don't look at the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like we think about your earliest memories as children. One thing I remember you said when we talked about this, most times children, when you remember things like really early, like 3, 4, 5, you remember it because it comes from a very um emotional place. It may be a bad emotion, it could be just a very happy emotion. So a lot of times those are things that we hold on to as children, but usually children don't remember like the things that's going on around them. They're not very intuitive to say, oh, they think
Mm-hmm.
that's how children grow up and think their parents' relationships are wonderful or that their mama never had a sad day. It's like because they don't know how to read it. They are very into themselves. And as you get older, we start looking out, or you should start
Yes.
looking out of yourself. And like even what you're talking about with voting, like that's the adult piece of us as you grow, the looking outward and seeing how the outward affects you and how you can impact other people's lives. I think that's a big piece of adulting. I think sometimes it happens naturally when you have kids, but I don't think it's the only time it happens. It happens with your friends, it happens with neighbors, it happens at work. It's just a big piece of knowing that you are an adult. And even like you said, we think about an adult and we think about legacy. That's still looking beyond you. That's looking like when I'm dead and gone, what have I left for the people that are coming, after me?
Yeah.
That's still the looking outward. Yeah, I think that to me, to outside of Bill's child, because you don't when you pay these bills. I think that's a big part of adulting. And another thing, outside of looking out, right? I had somebody tell me this before, and I think it was a very real. Like sometimes you have to parent yourself. So the switching of
Mm.
I am no longer a child, but somebody needs to parent me. Somebody needs to say, Miyoshi, it's time for you to go to sleep. And that person is me. Right? The
Yeah.
responsibility of
Mm-hmm.
you do have to go to work tomorrow, so you need to go ahead and do this. You need to eat healthy. Make sure you drink some water. It's the parenting of yourself. Because yes, your parents are no longer doing it, whomever was taking care of you, but you have to now do it. You can't just kind of go along life not thinking about these things. And someone has to do it. And I think that's a big piece of adulting is the now parenting of self.
Oh, that is so good. And like you said, it's the going to sleep. Getting somebody come and wake me up. I appreciate, wake up calls, and with me
Oh,
working
me
night
too.
shift, I've had to call people in the morning times like, oh well, I know you gonna be up. And it's like, let me not, you know, use my brain as for memory. Let me set me an alarm, and I name the alarm, call such and such to wake them up. Sometimes I miss it, but you still need that extra help. Also, once you become adult status, that doesn't mean that you still do not need that guidance and direction and stuff. So
Exactly.
I guess, like, don't never get too grown.
Right.
That is definitely something I've always heard. Don't get too grown now. You
Right.
can't never get growner than me, because your parents and other people, elders in your life, they still have however many years ahead of you, and they have that much more of knowledge
And
and wisdom.
the parenting of yourself may be recognizing that you need assistance.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
parents have to do that for their children when they see, oh, there may be someone struggling in a certain subject. I want to get you a tutor, or I see this is going on. Let's make sure we get you in karate, whatever it may be. So, as the adult, parenting yourself may be saying, you know what, I'm struggling in this area, so let me get someone who can help me with this. Even
Mm-hmm.
if it's as small as, listen, I'm tired, and I know when this alarm go off, it ain't gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Please call me at 7 my time, because that's me. I'm like, can you call me at 11 my time, 10 o'clock your time?
Right, exactly. As I say, just like you have to call your friend, help wake them up or whatever, make sure they up, hold them accountable. Do that for right now. Go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, share this video, tell these people, like, girl, tell your people, like, guess what? Get on over here to the 40 spot. They talking real stuff. They talk this our language. They know. They're my sister girls. Yeah, they
We all
understand.
out here figuring it out together.
Yeah.
We have
Look,
some answers, but we also have plenty of questions.
hello. If you have some questions, we might have some answers. You don't want to ask it in the comment. Email us, DM us, email us at the40spot@gmail.com. DM us. We check them. We
Which
want you to be in our DM. Slide on in.
DMs.
Slide on in.
And speaking of someone like looking outside of yourself and finding someone to kind of glean to, or to see who someone can help you, apparently, not apparently, but The Rock talked to someone. I don't know if it was like an interview in a magazine or whatever. So anyway, it is things I know at 45 that I wish I knew at 22. So it was an article, and this is the list. The first one is, you need to start. And it says, this is your only life. It's too short to keep putting off doing what you want to do. Live your life for you, not anyone else. Boom, boom. Number one, you need to start. It don't matter what it look like when you start, but just start. It could be a little
Yes.
start. It could be a small start. It could be a medium start. It could be a start that really like, ooh, that don't even go with what I'm trying to do. But at least you started. You need
Yeah.
to start. And again, I think we all like in that who's in that 40 range, where we are in that sweet spot of being like, this is my life. Ain't nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
This is my life. Um, and
Yeah.
taking that and owning that and stepping forward to whatever it is that you want to start doing. The second one was, your environment is crucial. Regardless
Mm.
of how disciplined or motivated you are, if you're in the wrong environment, you'll never get anything done.
Preach.
Period. And you have to recognize that and parent yourself and move accordingly.
And you have to recognize that you're in the wrong environment, meaning that you're in an environment where you're not growing, you're not thriving. People may not be around you, they sucking the life out of you, and nobody's trying to pour into you and
Exactly.
stuff. And you can't give what you ain't got. And if everybody else, they've been like a succubus to you, you have absolutely nothing left for yourself. You got to recognize that. Number three was like, be ready to pivot. Things change, plans fall through, and life happens. Be ready and willing to pivot when chasing your goals according to the feedback you're getting. It's feedback. All criticism may not be good criticism. It could be critical, but it is for your growth and development, because every time you may not realize, because you already inside. And sometimes it's other stuff going on where somebody on the outside, they looking in, and it's like, look, you can do this a little bit better, or hey, won't you try this because I see you struggling. I've been here before.
And
Take,
even if it's not something that you have to move on, take just learning other people's perspectives. That's something that I would say I learned later on in life that I definitely wish I knew that earlier, right? Where someone is giving me feedback that I don't necessarily agree with, and so I'm weighing it and what should I do with it. But sometimes you just need to put it on a shelf, or sometimes you keep it in the back of your mind if that's someone's perception. Because one thing that is important to me is knowing how I show up to people. Right, how I show up in relationships, how I show up at work, how am I showing up, just in the store. And so, if someone gives you feedback on something or how they make you feel or just even a project, it's still their perception. So it's like, okay, what can I learn from that?
mhm.
What made them see it this way, since that wasn't my intention? Now it could be that they're haters, it could be that they just didn't understand, but taking the time to kind of think about, okay, why did they maybe feel this way, or why was this perceived this way? It's good for just later on, to when you come across somebody who's just like all right.
Absolutely.
Number four, books are mental masturbation. Okay.
Mm.
I love reading. I love learning, but too much reading and not enough doing is just like binge watching YouTube. Read, apply, repeat. I love that. That's saying,
Mm.
yes, you have done the research. You have watched the videos. You have gone to the master class. You've gone to the webinars.
Like,
What
okay,
you
what
want
how
to
much
know?
more are you going to do? It's like you have to, yes, Nicole said apply. You have to apply the
Yes,
knowledge that you have gotten. Some things, it is a shifting in your mind, but all of this results into some type of action. Think
exactly.
of the star method. It's a situation, adulting. The task, get it done. What is your action? You go shit or you go get up out the pot,
And then
and then your results.
results.
What
Yep.
is going to be the result? I always remember, I want to be a superstar. I want to be a star. You got to do something. You
And
have to do something.
this applies for everything. That's
Oh,
if you want to be
absolutely.
a superstar, if you want to be a singer, you want to write a book, you want to be a great parent, you want to, do more things in your neighborhood. It can apply to everything. Reading and watching documentaries and all the, it's not worth nothing if you're not applying it. That is so important. All
Yeah.
right, number 7.
No, number 5, you need to be selfish.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, it's okay. It's okay. I got it. You can't pour from an empty cup. Hallelujah.
You just talked about
So,
the succubus.
exactly. So be selfish. Fill your cup first, and then you can be selfless and pour into others.
Mm, that's
If that is what you want to do, because as I say, thinking about your legacy, how do everybody else receive you around? Because everybody got an idea of who they are. But guess what? How you see yourself may not be the experience that everyone else has of you.
right.
So you don't just want to have, I want to have an idea that I'm a good person, I'm kind, I'm giving, I'm loving, I'm helpful, blah, 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 blah. And ain't nobody ever like who is that? Who that?
Exactly.
Y'all here selling Hollywood dreams. So you need to be in a situation where, guess what? You do have to work on self first before you, because pouring into other people mean that you're helping them to get to their place of promise, to their place of you know, success, or on a road where they can be somewhat successful and everything. But it's like, if you ain't sure of who you are, you ain't got it together, people gonna be looking at you a hot mess.
Yes, and I think that goes back to even with parents. Parents are people who are caring for others. Yes, you have to care for them, but you have to care for yourself. You have to
Mm-hmm.
care for yourself, because again, you give so much, but if you're giving it from an empty cup, how much are you giving? You're giving them what you have in survival because you're trying to just survive.
Girl, Nicole, stop emptying yourself into cap people when you're a bottle. They can't
Period.
fill you up because they are cap. And that is so very true. There was something very similar. I think it was on Super Soul Sunday with TD Jakes and Oprah Winfrey, and she talked about how her mother, and it showed clips of her mother's like, oh, I gave all this. And to her mother, yes, you was. And he was like, sometimes you got 10-gallon people. You can hold 10 gallons, but somebody else, they only one paint. That one paint in a 10-gallon is ain't gonna be nothing, even if they refill 50 times or 4 or 5 times, it's still just not enough. And when they say I'm giving you even more than what I even have to give, it is honestly true, but sometimes it is not enough.
And to kind of add on that, I remember I read a book, and I want to say it was Mike Murdoch. I don't know. We're gonna go with it. But he gave the same analogy with the pint and the gallon. And just to kind of piggyback on what you said, is if you are a gallon and you have this pint vessel that you're pouring into, you may pour all of you into this vessel. Everything else outside of it is what? A waste.
Yeah.
So when someone is like, when they don't appreciate all your extra, when they don't see all your extra, it's because they're a pint. So they can't even see that. They can only hold that pint.
Yeah.
So no, they don't appreciate it because they don't see it.
Yeah.
They don't even have the capacity to hold it. That was a good one. That's a
Oh,
good
yes.
one, Rock. Come on, Rock.
Yes, I like this. I like this of him. I really do. And it definitely
Yeah,
fits for the time for us. The
that's a
other one,
color.
yes. And
One more that I like. I don't know if we want to share all of them. Number 6 is the gym is preparation. Say in the gym, your mind is telling you to quit the whole time, but not quitting. You're building your mental fortitude and resilience in preparation for life. And
yes.
at first you listen to this like, well, you exercise, da da da. You have to have that physique, so that doesn't apply. But when I read it, I'm like, I love that one because it's really talking about that mindset, that mind over matter. I don't know how many people love the gym. There are a few people that love the gym, but a lot of people that go to the gym, even if they're going every day, they're doing it because they know it's necessary. And like he talked about, you want to quit the whole time. I know when I go to the gym, I don't go often as I should, but seriously, it's the battle getting there. And then it's the battle staying. And then when you leave, most times like, oh, that was nice. Sometimes I've left the gym and then had to sit in my car and catch a couple breaths. But that giving that example is like doing things in your life. It may not be the gym. It could be saying, I'm gonna make sure I drink a gallon of water. Just something that is like you are speaking to your mind. You're speaking against your flesh to say, no, I'm not gonna do this. I am going to master the mind over matter situation. Because if I can do it in something so tangible and small, I can bring that over into other areas where like,
Absolutely.
no, because I practiced it, right? The gym is just something where you practice it. It's just like a muscle, like being able to go past your emotions and being able to go past your feelings. That has to be practiced. If you never, stop yourself, if you always are impulsive and doing what your flesh is telling you to do, doing what your mind is telling you to do, you will always do that. And the moment you try not to, 9 times out of 10, you're going to give in. So like I give an example of myself. I love McDonald's. I don't have no shame in it. And I have went a whole day thinking about a fish fillet meal with a strawberry cream pie. Yes, and ketchup, right? So doing good. And maybe had I been in the gym, working that mental muscle of just being there and be present. But honey, listen, I went the whole day with this on my mind. I was doing really good. But let me tell you, 12 o'clock hit, and I was like, they're going to close at 1. I got in my car and I went to McDonald's. And that mind over matter, the matter won. Yes, the strawberry cream pie. Probably like 2 because usually that's what I get. You can't just have one. I have to have 2 because if you eat one, I eat kind of fast and I didn't. So I needed the second one. This is a safe space, right?
It is. It ain't no judgment. This is like Planet Fitness. This is a no
Exactly.
judgment zone.
But I
It
am
might not be the strawberry cream pie for me, but it's something else.
But the truth is, winning in those moments, I'm not gonna win in those moments if I'm not practicing being like, nope, I'm not gonna do that today. I'm not. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
I thought about this. No, telling myself, oh well, it's just a shape. Oh, it's just this. So I given in little ways, and then when I have those moments, I have not built that mind over matter muscle. I guess if we
Yeah.
want to call it that, right? But have been times in my life, and I'm working to get back to those times. But there have been times in my life where I have pressed over those thoughts. I'm like, you know what? Nope. And it's because I've had the little moments of saying, no, I'm good. Let me just eat this yogurt. I can go and doing this, whatever. And so in those moments, I can say, I've done this in this area. I can do it in this area as well.
Right.
That's just eating, but it can also go in when you have mastered your mind, you can control so much in your life.
Yeah.
Period.
And that kind of go to the seventh point. You cannot stop learning. The moment you stop learning, you stop progressing.
I was trying
Acquire
to
new knowledge, learn new skills, apply, progress, repeat.
mm-hmm.
Essential. Absolutely essential. So it's just one of those things like, guess what? I'm not going to do this today. It's like, this is so counterproductive of what I want to do and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't need to be getting up in the middle of the night going somewhere. My safety, everything. Yeah, I got gas, I got money, whatever, like that, you know.
But
But
here
it's like,
I am. Let me get my little jacket.
right. And then you go eat this, and then you finna lay down and go to sleep right on it. And you
And then
didn't.
the next day trying to figure out why my stomach hurt.
Yes, or you feel all icky in the inside. It's like, man, why did I do that? And the last thing you want to do is be somewhere and have a doo-doo alert. Because let me tell you, them fast foods, they will do that to you. You should be able to lose weight because sometimes it'll put you on that toilet, it'll put you down.
Yeah, but then it holds it just but yes, number seven, like she said, you can never stop learning. You can't stop
Yeah.
learning. You can't be like, oh, I already know, which I've gotten better with. But it's like if I already know something, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to read it. I don't want to, whatever. But there could be something. The truth is, you can have a whole lesson in a year from now, have the lesson again and get something from it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Nicole said the comfort zone is a death zone. Push outside your comfort zone to grow. Absolutely. Growth does not happen in a place of comfort. It does not. When you
Comfort
think
is
about
definitely where stagnation and nothing happens.
exactly, because if you just think about just a plant, you put a plant in the ground, it's covered up. Nobody don't see it. You got to do some things to it, and it got to force its way through. Force its way through is to say, I can feel that light. They don't see it, it's in total darkness, but when it breaks through and it's unstoppable.
Yeah.
It's unstoppable. And you have to be there. But don't be surprised. Like number 8, not everybody wants you to win. So
But
it's always somebody want to be a weed whacker, want to come through and cut down what's growing.
the
Don't
ops is out there.
get your fence. Pray every day. Ask God for a hedge of protection that's thick, high, and deep. Because guess what? They want to get in. They can dig deep. They can burrow through stuff. They can jump like none other. Be like, Lord, I need a whole dome.
Exactly.
A whole dome. And as I say, but even with those people that do not want you to win, say learn to recognize those that truly want the best for you and those that don't. Cut the ladder out. Like you got to just know sometimes you can't just focus, well, they was there for me in this time and whatever. Sometimes people in your life are seasons and reasons. Know when the season is over, know when they serve whatever purpose and reason. It's not that you're using them, but everybody cannot go to the next level with you. It just can't. Some they can only carry what you need this far. You got that, and then you go on to the next round.
And some people put limits on you because they have limits on themselves, and that's not something that you need in your environment. That goes to the other one, right? Um,
Hmm.
but people, if they have limits on themselves, they definitely will have limits for you because
Right.
people's perception is how they move and how they see things. Number
Yeah.
9, risk is a part of life. Whether you're taking a new job, starting your own business, or moving to a new country, anything that has the potential to improve your life involves risk. Embrace it.
This is
Embrace
true.
it. We in our 40s. Like, it's not the time to be like, well, I'm in my 40s, so I'm just gonna get settled in here. Now, do we need calculator risk? Absolutely. Because we're not in our 20s and our 30s anymore. So we don't have the luxury of time for just being reckless. So make calculator risk. But move if you need to. Sometimes nobody, something comes up, an opportunity comes up and you have to move. That is a risk. It is
This
a
is so
risk.
very true. And a good replay of a podcast is the end of season 1, episode 12 with Kimberland Jackson, and she's an expat. And then she talked about things that she needed to do and she wanted to do and change and stuff when she made the move outside of the country. And then she realized it's so many people that is doing these
Right.
things. And Omar said you have to be selfish and do not worry about people and don't feed and pay your bills. This is 100% true because adulting it is although everybody around you may be adulting is specific to you. You and your adulting is specific for you. Like my mama said, guess what? I ain't never seen a check that came with 2 people names on it. And when I go to work, it's just mine. When they want my taxes, they want my tax money and stuff. It's a very, very singular experience. It's very individualized, although it can be to the collective and everything. So take the risk. And like you said, calculated risk, because you don't have to have when it's something that can set you back 10 years or 20 years or whatever like that. No, don't do that.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. Number 10, challenge your beliefs. Why do you believe something? Oh, that's good. Because your
Ooh,
parents told you, because the news told you. Challenge what you believe. Be willing to listen to opposing opinions and always be ready to learn. I feel like that has been a reoccurring theme for me in challenging my beliefs. Doesn't mean that I no longer believe it, but when I think about certain things, it's like, but why do I believe that? So if I truly believe that, and then I have to do my own research to say, okay, yes, I do believe that. I don't just believe this because it's something my mother told me or because
mhm.
this is the group of people that I'm around. This is my friends think. Challenge your beliefs. And one thing I am working on right now, well, being willing to listen to opposing opinions. I mean, so I vacillate in that. If I'm one, I have a big problem lending an ear to people that I truly think are toxic, um, who don't have the best in mind for me personally and for my community. And so I just won't listen to what they have to say. But the default in that is, or the I guess not default, but the bad thing about that is that I don't really know their position. Although, truthfully, I don't care to know their position. However, you can't fight your enemy without knowing how they move. And
Exactly.
knowing that is like, okay, you need to get it together and you need to know how they move, how they believe. And how they believe is going to tell you about their movements. So that's something I'm definitely still working on. Like, my 41-year-old self wouldn't tell it to my 22-year-old self because I'm still like, I don't really hear what they got to say. I'm still saying that
Yeah.
one, but I'm working on that. And I think that is for me, that is a sign of growth and being in
Hmm.
that adulting era, right? Where it's like, I can recognize where it is beneficial. I will be honest and say that that doesn't mean that I will still sit and listen and go seek certain things out. But I should wouldn't sit and listen to everything. But I do see the importance of it and like trying to be a better person of getting and acquiring information and not just going with what I believe. Because the truth about it is anything you believe, you can always find people to back it up. You'll always find information that says how you believe and how you think is right.
True.
Always do
True.
that, no matter what it's about.
True. Well, I'm definitely glad that you taking a new initiative to find out, you know, what the other people is saying, because I've lately, because I love watching the news, and definitely with politics and stuff like that. And because politics, religion, a lot of things there is, they hit at your core, and it's just like, why people got to be fighting about this stuff. And then sometimes it's like, you know what, let me step back, because you can easily find yourself in those situations, and it's kind of like you can contribute, you know, logically, factually, or just emotionally. And just being a Black female, we definitely have to operate when we're in spaces of zero emotion. And sometimes even with one another, both of us can't be on an emotional roller coaster, because it's going to, you know, just be really, really crazy. And the thing is, it's like, if you firm in what you believe, nobody should be able to emotionally hijack you. You know, and stuff like that. And just because I hear something that I don't necessarily agree with, that doesn't mean that I'm going to take it on to myself. Guess what? Because one thing that I always, and I think it's just a part of finding your own voice, and knowing that, guess what? I want to be heard. Not that you do what I say do, because that's being bossy, but just respect that I have an opinion, and my opinion may be different from yours. Just like you and I, we've been great friends, but we was raised in separate households, different geographics. I was raised in a smaller town. You was raised in a larger town. So some of our viewpoints are just going to always be different, just based off that. But does that mean that we got to get in a knockout, brawl out, whatever? Cause there's some stuff I'm pretty sure you just like, that shit is crazy in country. And it's like, and there's some stuff that you done told me, it's like, child, you should have, like, see, that's what a city slicker is, or whatever, like that. But the thing is, it's like, we probably wouldn't even know that. Guess what? It's certain stuff that you felt like that, not because like, oh, I'm scared to tell you, but it's just like, you know what, it's all right, it's all good, because we are different. But our differences, sometimes they can bring us together more so than they're not. And I think, as far as with Black people, because we have always historically been fighting to be heard, to be seen, to be acknowledged, to be like, guess what, we matter too. That sometimes you do have to sit at the table with your enemies in order to get progress. And then you can't be no hothead or whatever. And as
that one right there is where that's the hard piece, right? Like,
yeah.
I'll be honest, I don't want to sit at the table. I don't. I have no desire. But knowing that there's a part of life and a part of sometimes the journey where you have to, you know,
Uh-huh.
I have no.
Yes, because Nicole said hearing a different view is great, but I don't know about toxic. We can still protect our space. But guess what? This is what happens when you start hearing somebody else's different views, and sometimes it may be different than yours, and it triggers something in you, and then that's when you feel that hate is toxic. It ain't just like the person come at you, you know, we ain't on one side of the road and you on the other side of the road, and we got picket signs and stuff. Like, at that point, we already know, guess what, somebody crosses the line, it's on, everybody fighting. But you never know when you may have to be the person that sit at the table to help mediate and stuff. And as a therapist, now you're going to hear a whole lot of stuff, because you're going to be dealing with children who has been inbred with that stuff, and then some of it is gonna make your, you know, it's just like, you know what, where your mama and them at? If they out here, because I feel a choke coming on, you know. But at the same time, it's like your job is to try to help them. Sometimes it's not going to be that it changes their viewpoint, but it may just be to bring them that, guess what, your viewpoint may be definitely very, very hurtful and harmful. And if you say certain things, you cannot control the reactions of everybody else. And sometimes it's just knowing that portion. But you got to sit there and listen to the stuff they spewing out.
And I think you made a good point that sometimes it's necessary for advancement. I mean, because just talking about as being a therapist, and there's certain things that I want to do with children, and in my community and neurodivergent and things like that, like thinking about the idea of having to go to people who don't see the impact of certain programs or certain systems that have been going on, and you have to kind of sit with them and have conversations. And when you're having those conversations, knowing that they're not always listening, sometimes they're there just to tell you their opinion, to tell you their belief, and to tell you that you are wrong and that these people can't be helped, you know. So yeah,
Stacey Abrams then flipped Georgia blue by not sitting down at the table with people who all agree with her.
you right. You right, girl. You right.
And we just gonna leave that right there. And guess
No,
what? That could be for another. But 11, money can buy happiness. Money can buy you time freedom, location freedom, and most importantly, the opportunity to do what actually makes you happy. Listen,
I
it had
love this
nothing to
one.
do with stuff.
Yep.
Nothing to do with stuff. Nothing that you can go and get an actual receipt for.
Oh yeah, Nicole said yes. Money buys choices, and I
Yes.
think, oops, excuse me, I think that that's the important thing. Or money can't buy. It's all about changing mindsets, right? Where was my mind? And when you're younger, you say all these off the wall things, and I'm very a big person on your words have power. So when we're young, we're like, oh, I don't need this, I don't need that, I don't need money. That doesn't matter. And it's like, but you don't understand the importance of money. It's not about loving money. It's about what money can do for you, not a Birkin bag. I mean, unless that's something you want, but it's about the time, the space, and to bring you the happiness. Exactly what he's saying. Because if I had 5 million right now, I'd be honey happy. Do you hear me?
Right, because
Real big
one, you wouldn't be
redhead.
time confined to go clock in, clock out for work. It's other things that I think a lot of us would like to do. And I'm not talking about, oh, I just want to be able to sit at home, clean my house, do
Right.
different stuff. It is just like, I think a lot of people have some level of charity that they want to do, volunteer work, philanthropy that you can't do because it is money constraints.
Or in time. And
Yes.
this is the baseline of money, right? Because you can't go out and do all these things, that you want to go ahead and do because you have to go to work. So the time that you would take to maybe do it, you have to go to work. And then when you're off of work, you're tired. So you don't even have the time to do it when you're not at work.
And some of those things you already done use 8 to 12 hours of your day in exchange for time, for money, but then you still got to do this adulting, paying your regular bills and stuff like that. So what could you do if you had 3 times as much as your current salary?
Yeah.
Would you spend it trying to make a true difference, or you just, okay, yes, you go pay up some bills, probably get some other stuff paid off, so then you have that financial freedom. And I think it goes back to like with the student loan, where people, they know, guess what, if you're able to get this for me and I can get
Yeah.
these loans refinanced at a lower interest rate or a lower payment, how much of that money would be freed up so that I'm not so stressed out just getting money, my regular month bills. And guess what? In time, that's going to make you happier when you're not stressed out about that. And with
But
this,
you go on vacation. Vacations make you happy because you are relaxed. You're not thinking about, you got bills at
he
home.
said location.
You're not even
As
thinking about it.
sometimes if you have the money, you can move to a different location, maybe a different city, maybe a different part of town, maybe to just in a better apartment
Yeah.
or a better home and stuff, so that your safety is better. So in turns, that's going to make you more happier and stuff. So I definitely sit up there and say that. And sometimes, as he said, point 12, you need discomfort, whether it's physical discomfort in the gym or mental discomfort when chasing your goals. Embracing discomfort is the key to long-term fulfillment. The grind ain't pretty. Grit and grime, it is gutter as it comes. That's why I said the phoenix, it rises up from the ashes. Everything was burnt down.
Yep.
You definitely have to And then when you're in a place of discomfort, as Nicole said earlier about, when you in comfort areas and stuff, there's no growth. It's like, hey, I gotta be discomfort. I gotta feel like I'm being constricted. Like I gotta bust out of this to get to a different place.
I mean,
So then I feel better.
it's like, even going back to the whole weight loss thing for me, discomfort is a motivator. Putting on clothes, they be like, God, dog, I can't. I'm about to pop out of this. It can be a motivator because you're like, I want to feel comfortable in these jeans that I have, and just kind of bringing it to the whole discomfort thing. That is why the importance of discomfort, because when you're uncomfortable, it motivates you to move. It motivates you to do something different. The one of the issues, though, if we stay in discomfort long enough, it becomes the norm. It's like people who walk around with back pain forever, and they don't really realize how much pain they're in until they get some type of relief because they kind of ignored it. So that's the tricky thing about discomfort, though.
Yeah,
You
it'll
stay
reset and it'll become your
never
norm.
do nothing, it becomes your new norm.
Mm-hmm.
So discomfort is necessary. So you need to move and do something, or you're gonna start getting comfortable once again. Number 13, failure isn't final.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah, as my grandmother would say. Hallelujah. Failure
Praise
is
Him.
nothing but a sign telling you which direction not to go. Stop treating it like it's a never-ending red light.
Mm.
I
Mm.
love it. I
Yes.
love that one. Failure
It
is not final at all.
it reminds me of a quote by Booker T. Washington. When I lived in Chicago, I had it, and it says, "Success is not measured by what one obtains, but the obstacles and the failures that person overcame." And I put that on my son's quote of his graduation announcements and stuff. And it is, and people think that success is linear. It is not. It is just as jagged and zigzag as a cricket piece of lightning.
For real.
Like it definitely that is like one thing, like in any of help book, in the Bible, any type of motivational speech I've ever heard. That is the consistent thing, that guess what? Success is not without failure.
Right.
Even people who are highly, highly successful, because what it is, the guy that owns Starbucks, he said that he had over 200 denials for a loan. But when he got that one, it's like all you need is yes. And it said, Omar said that when you stop trying, you're a failure. Exactly. That's the only final failure, is that when you stop trying. Nicole said,
One of my
absolutely,
mom's
it's ups and
favorite
downs.
sayings is "It's not too late until they putting dirt over you and they saying, oh, she was such a good person. He was such a good person." That's when it's too late. So don't stop. Just don't stop trying, whatever it may be. Always going. I definitely what he said here about it being, you figure out which direction not to go. Like, how do you know what not to do unless you do it? Right? Because
That's it.
you don't know. And the reality is sometimes you may go one direction and it didn't work that one time, but a year later you go that direction again and it's it. So but you learn something along the way. And I do believe that failure teaches you character. I
Oh,
believe,
absolutely.
because how are you going to be with people when things are not happening the way you want it to happen in the time that it's happening? What are the things that you're working on in the meantime, in between time? So if we just succeeded at every single thing we did, boom, 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 could you really appreciate the people who are coming along to help you? Can you really appreciate what you have? I don't think that if you've never made a mistake, if you've never failed at anything, I don't think you can truly appreciate it.
No.
And it's, you hear stories of people who never experienced certain setbacks in life until they get a little older. And when they experience them, it is like devastating for them.
Oh
Because
yeah.
they have this over elevated idea of themselves, because now you're going to that perfectionism, and we are not aliens. I think most of us are not.
Right.
And we all experience life. And so if we're not experiencing life and emotions and failure, then you're an alien. That's the only thing I can say, because then you don't know how to experience it as a human being.
And how are you living at that point too? Because
Because are you taking risk? Because that's the question. Like, if you haven't failed at anything, have you taken one risk?
and also I want to say this, some of those people, you do see some people career wise, they didn't have any setbacks, but when you look at different personal parts of their life, it may be there.
Yeah.
So some people,
So
when they could
failure
have
is
just said,
not
"Oh,
just
I didn't
about,
have this, that, and the other," but baby, when you go home,
yeah, failure
you
is not just about money. Success is not just about money. Like, success can be, I don't know if you've seen these reels where it's like, oh my God, these children are driving me crazy, and then they'll have a picture of open, we have children, and it's like pointing out the idea, like, oh my God, we have children. Some of them are being sarcastic, like, why do we have children? And some of them are just kind of like excited, or like somebody posts about, I've only made 2 sales this week in my business, and then it flashes to like an old picture when they first started a business, and their old self is like, we're actually selling something. We have a business, so
right.
those, it's like Nicole said, it's not the end, it's the journey, and you learn
Mm-hmm.
so many things along the way. And I think the more we learn along the way, and failure doesn't have to be huge, just setbacks here and there, but I think it does build character when we do reach certain points in our life and our goals. It does build character.
Yes. And his last point, consistency always wins.
I believe that.
Persistence wears down resistance.
Resistance.
You
Yes.
just got to keep tapping at it. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. you know a journey of 1,000 steps start with the first step. Like, just keep putting one foot in front of the other. As long as there is breath in your body, you have a chance. Um in for the Christian folks, it said God's grace and mercy is new every morning. So when I go to sleep, I wake up, that new day happened. Guess what? I get a whole new measure of grace, a whole new measure of mercy. And what some people don't understand, what exactly is grace and what exactly is mercy. Grace is that, guess what? I you done did some stuff you really not deserving of this, but I'm gonna give it to you. And see, that mercy is just like you go into the court. You done seen it say, well, we just fall on the mercy of the court. I ain't gonna give you what you deserve as a punishment for your lack of obedience and stuff like that. And it's just like, God, I thank you, Lord, for your grace and mercy, and that it's new every morning, because we got to do a continuation of what I did yesterday and some more yesterdays. It would have been a ran out on me.
But if you give up,
Exactly.
you won't be
Exactly.
able to experience that, because it's always available for you. But if you give up on whatever goal you're trying to reach, you won't experience it.
Yes, and it's one of those things like, well, how do I get to that place of promise? How do I get to that place of success? You got to move.
Yeah.
You got to keep moving. You got to get there. And then sometimes once you realize you're there, guess what? That was just one notch on the journey of success. You didn't even see that it was another place that you're supposed to be, because you got to be over here first, then to get over here to the second place. And I think that there should always, none of us is ever at our best self. There's always room for improvement. There's new knowledges and stuff that we have. Look, when we turn in our 50s, we're gonna be looking at us in our 40s like, child, you ain't having no one
Thought
near
you knew.
together.
You thought you knew, but you ain't know for real.
Exactly. But you just thank God, like, guess what, I did get through my 40s with not so many scabs and scabs and bumps and
Okay.
bruises and stuff. So what lesson would you give to your 20-year-old self?
I'm gonna pose this to the audience too. Like, if somebody
Yes, in the comments.
about mine, um, one, I would say one lesson for my 22-year-old self would be that you should trust your intuition.
Mm.
I think that I can look back on a lot of things, relationships, school, just a lot of things in life. And I think that goes back to knowing your voice, but part of that, trusting your intuition. A lot of things I knew intuitively that I wavered in, that I'm like, I don't know. But had I trusted my intuition,
Mm-hmm.
certain things may have went different. I don't know. You never know, right? Because if you don't make the choice, you don't know how it would have turned out. But I would definitely tell myself to trust your gut, trust your intuition. The second one, kind of on the same line, is I would tell myself that he has some good ones in there. So to keep away from those,
Mm-hmm.
I would also tell myself that I don't know how I would tell myself this, but everything you need, you have it on the inside of you.
Mm.
Because I think um which I think happens when you are younger. You're kind of looking outside of you for validation. You're looking for other people to kind of help you with these answers. You see, there's a couple of young people that I keep in contact with, and I hear a lot of times when they call me and we're talking, and it's like, "But what are you thinking?" It's like, "No, what are you thinking?" I try to always put it back in their court because I don't want. Although I understand you're coming to me as a mentor, I also want you to have your voice. So,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think? And why do you think that? And like, I can help you process that information, but this is your voice. These are your decision. So, for me, it's the definitely trust your intuition and you have everything you need on the inside of you. You don't have to go out for additional validation. Yes, maybe you need to do a little bit more research. Research, validation is two different things.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, those are my
Absolutely.
two.
Um, Things that I would want to tell myself, or I could give myself definitely, financial literacy.
Mm,
Start looking that up, so that I would know exactly the difference between money and currency and how it works. How,
yeah,
not just that it works for me, how can I make it work for me? How does it work globally? And that is something that's not taught in schools. And unless you're like a finance major or accounting major or something like that, you're still not going to get that even in college. So I probably would want to go back and take some finance classes just for that, to see
but
that
now,
was a benefit. Yeah, if not, I probably would end up being a finance major or something like that. To see like, okay, what could I do, just, so I could, thinking, had I making money make money for me and
mhm,
doing some things, and here it is 20 years later, where would I be at? And as I say, it definitely made me happy, like, look at that, all that money. I've probably been going crazy, with the stock market and stuff like that, but I would have known, guess what, this is long term.
yeah,
That also, there would have been times that I would have went back and told myself, it ain't worth it, just to see if you do it different than what you was told to do.
mm,
I ain't saying that if I had a 100% listen, it would have been the best outcome either. But guess what? Just saying, okay, this is what you did. Let me analyze and think of, like, just trying to be strategic.
mhm,
And like, I'm gonna do it different. It's not I'm gonna do it my way, but I'm gonna really just, like, guess what? It would have been okay. And with certain things, everything, you didn't have to act upon.
mhm,
It's okay to be still sometimes.
mm,
It definitely is okay to be still and just chill.
yeah,
Like, yeah, I think those would be some of those things. Definitely would have been that. In the comment section, Anna Smith said, "Be kind to yourself. Stop living inside the box." Absolutely. Fournette, just because you're young doesn't mean you have nothing to contribute.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think just to expound on that with Fernet, I think sometime in the black community, because if you in your 40s, 9 times out of 10, we come from that school. You didn't interject in grown folks conversation. One, you couldn't even be around with grown folk conversation. So even if you wasn't talking to that, it still was one, it still internalized that, guess what? Whatever you got to say, it's not needed in this conversation. Now, do I still believe that? Absolutely, because your 10, 12, 13-year-old brain cannot process, and sometimes some stuff that adults is talking about, it's 10, 15 years old in the making, and ain't nobody got time to bring you up to speed. You know, that's just the truth. It's like, yes, get out my mouth, get out my face. But when those things are there, I do think that sometimes as our parents, and no fault to their own, because they only did what they knew and what they thought was best, that sometimes it's like, instead of making decisions for us, like, let's talk this out, let's try to reason this out and stuff. And that certain things, while you still have that security net and that hedge of protection, and you may not feel the full, they're able to shelter and block some of the full consequences of some of your decisions and stuff, is that if they let you be a little bit more active, and then in your decision making processes, versus, you're sneaking trying to do stuff.
Right. And I think I think that's important for us as we learn and as we talk about these things, to remember that not only are these lessons we would tell our 22-year-old self, and maybe these are lessons to teach those that have children or those who have children and young adults that's in their life, to help them learn those things. Because a lesson is, I'm not saying a lesson is not great for you individually, but when you can learn that lesson and share it with someone else, it has definitely not all been in vain.
Mm-hmm.
You can share
Mm-hmm.
it. I mean, you can help people to find their voice. I did, kind of going back to Anna Smith's when she said, stop living inside the box. I think a lot of people, you know, find themselves there because they may say later, I'll do this, right? I have time to
Mm-hmm.
do this. And then you look up, baby, and time is gone. So encouraging the youth and the young adults to live outside your box, contribute. I like when Nicole said, don't make yourself small for other people. Don't be
Mm.
afraid of your greatness. And listen, that's a big one,
It
because
is.
you're so afraid of, yes, I can feel this on the inside of me, but people are going to expect these things from me now.
Mm-hmm.
What if I
Mm-hmm.
fail? So now we're afraid. What if I fail when I step out and I do these things? Yeah. Anna said it, she said, and fear. Fear is such a big piece of it, because it's like, if I
It's
step
so
out of my box,
crippling.
I'm afraid. If I step in my box, I might make a mistake. And just being okay with making a mistake. I think that's one thing when I do have children, it's so important to me to teach them. I heard somebody say this, and I've said I'm definitely going to pick this up. So, what mistakes did you make today? Like, celebrate,
Mm.
making it normal, normalizing making mistakes, because you'll be less likely to be afraid to make mistakes. You'll be less likely to be afraid to risk things when it's normalized. Like, nah, people may say, what mistakes you made today? Like, for real? Dang, you did that. What you learned from that, though? And so presenting it in such that way, it just kind of, it humanizes the
Yeah.
lived experience that we all have. And that's what's crazy, right? Because we all have these experiences, we all have these feelings, yet nobody is like coming. I don't want to say nobody, because some people do celebrate, mistakes
Mm-hmm.
here and talk about this and do these things with their children. But I think that piece is important, that with everything, that we learn from our own lessons and pass them on.
Yes.
Unfortunately, many older people feel intimidated by 20-year-olds. Very true. I experienced that many times in my 20s. Definitely, we should not be afraid to speak what's true and right in front of older people and people. Period. That's real. And you think about even a lot of activists, right? How old was Martin Luther King when he started? most of the people that were out on the forefront are young people, were young
They
people.
are.
Because guess what? Older people had to work. So guess what? Their position was, come to the house, we feed you. You need somewhere to
Mm-hmm.
stay when y'all doing this march, y'all come stay. Because the older people had to go to work. The older people were providing the resources. It's the young people that go out. And like she said, unfortunately, a lot of older people are intimidated by young people. The new ideas.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. They are definitely, they've gotten comfort in their discomfort. It has stayed for so long
Why you
that
want
they
to roast?
don't
Yes.
know how. And Omar, he made a great point. Said we live inside the box because we are taught to be secure and to do not take risks to move forward.
Yep.
So everybody wants to be safe. Everybody wants that security. I think that is innately in every human being.
Absolutely.
But you got to move forward. Otherwise, guess what? We've still been in the caves. We've still been in the caves. And I will say this, Black people as a whole, our contribution that we have done globally to for human race, it's in us that, guess what, we are creators, we are motivators. Just look at how we are as far as just digital creators and stuff like that on these platforms wouldn't be jack without us.
Period. They wouldn't be.
Music industry, anything that we're in, we dominate it. We just bring something else to it, and it's just like you got to have those forerunners. How many people, even when Arthur Ashe, who was a famous, you know, prize winning tennis player, male tennis player, how many people knew of him, that opened the door, that, guess what, people liked him, where I'm pretty sure Venus and Serena's father was a fan of Arthur Ashe and knew in this guy, guess what, I'm gonna have my children in there. And then now how many young people, where it's just like, guess what, we're bigger than running track and playing football and playing this. It's like we in it, we got it. We definitely have it. So I definitely believe, that we just have a sauce to us. We are the clout. We don't have to chase the clout, but instead of tapping out, we have to tap in. As you said, everything that we need, it is already in us. And if you know believe in God, that God lives within us and he supply all your needs, it's already there. You just got to tap in. But when we're children, we're fearless. They're gonna try this and say, get down from there before you hurt yourself. They don't know that they can hurt themselves. They don't know that they can kill themselves. They don't know, guess what, you fall, you get a knot or whatever. And then sometimes we, trying to keep them safe, we stop that exploration and that the wanting to know of science to a certain extent. Like, this is an experiment, what's going to happen? And it's kind of like we put out those flames of curiosity and that risk. Let it burn, let it burn, let it burn, let it burn.
Yeah, I think that's one of the. Don't get me. Okay, I'm gonna say this, but I don't know how true it is. But that's one of the idea of when it comes to monastery. I know I'm kind of right, but I don't know all of the details. But it is the curiosity, like letting children, even small children, cook. Right? You don't just
Mm-hmm.
give them the stuff and walk away and give them a nice say, yeah, figure it out. But the idea is, letting them cook small things, or the getting dressed in the morning and picking out their own clothes. And it's not a lot of, no, you can't do this, you can do this. It's a little organization. Because I was watching this video and it's like, I don't let my daughter wear whatever, but I do have selected of things. Like when it's in the winter, she has a small closet. Here's all those things in there. And if she be mismatched, that is her business, because she's learning. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
like even when she's putting on her shirt, if she needs some help, maybe she can call me. I'll be right there. But it's just the learning of doing things and being, I think the learning of self, although these things are very small, is how you start learning of self and having a voice, and having that voice and knowing that it is okay to share that voice.
Yes. When you said that, made me think. One time, Corey, my mom picked him up from school.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, Girl, she said Corey had us. I got so embarrassed. I want to say he put on one white sock and one black sock. Mama said it wouldn't be so bad, but one on was long, one on was short. Mama said, now you know, she's like, don't you ever leave up out this house making people think that he ain't got matches. She was so mad. Mama said, ain't nobody said that to y'all day. Said them teachers up there at school, they ain't nothing. Mama, she was so mad with. But as I say, you have stuff like that. Mama was like, now you know your difference between your colors. She was like, but darn Corey, a long sock and a short sock. Come on now. She was like,
We had
never.
one short.
Yes.
Ah,
That's why she seen it. She said when he walked into the car, Mama said, boy, my blood pressure shot up. So hey, I'm hurt. Say, got us out here looking crazy. These people, we got nothing. So sometimes it's like, guess what? He was that latchkey kid, so everybody was gone by the time he would leave to get up, get dressed to go to school. So it was just like, but now these kids they just wear mismatched socks all the time, and it still just drives me crazy because it's like it drives me crazy when the dryer eat up one of my socks, and it's just like you purposely just want to have on mismatched socks. I don't understand it. Some stuff I ain't gonna understand, and that's gonna be one of them. Yeah. So yes, I do understand. Like, guess what? I'm gonna give you just a few things. It's just kind of like a personal shopper when they a stylist. Guess what? This is I'm not giving you all of the store.
right.
This is your
I mean,
store.
I love that idea because, you know, most times I feel like parents are doing their very best and they're trying to do things to protect you. But sometimes it can be smothering or quenching of your voice. And, oh, don't say that around adults when really they're saying, I don't really know what you're going to say. And I don't want you to then say this. And then you have these adults coming to you.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We have some final comments in here I wanted to share.
Okay.
Um, we have one that says, if you have the desire to relocate, move.
Move.
Um, do not allow others to dictate your spiritual journey, nor determine, neither question your personal relationship with God. Seek God for you, period.
Exactly. That's come with researching. Researching. You got to read. And even the Bible says, study and show yourself approved. It never said just believe what's up there, people talking to you, whatever like that. God, he'll prove he's going to show himself to you.
Yep. Another one, Fernette, you on fire, but you tell your 22-year-old self, open a savings account, even if you're only able to contribute $2 a month.
True.
I believe that one, especially like an IRA situation that's going
to build some type of
yeah,
wealth
because it does more than saving. It's like accumulation over time and percentage. I don't remember the word, but yes, do that. Pay your bills on time. Don't let your bills have bills, people.
and I say and pay them in full, because guess what? If you just paying just enough for them not to shut it off, is you really getting anywhere? Because every time you get the next bill, you already see it's just like you can't never get ahead. And for
And the last one, Fernette, do not co-sign for anyone. Do not trap yourself into others' financial struggles.
really should say you better not do it. You better not.
She
Better not.
she parenting us. She parenting herself. I love these. Well, I want to say for everyone watching live and on the replay, we just want to thank you for contributing, because these are some really important um, things and lessons. And I just admonish you to these lessons that you have learned to share them with people around you. Share with them with younger people that are 22, 21, 25, whatever. People that are not where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes some lessons are nice not to have to learn yourself.
Yes.
There's a few lessons like, I mean, I could have just figured that out from this person, but I have a lot of lessons that I have borrowed from others that I did not have to go down there. I see what happened. You know, so
Exactly. And we
I'm
getting
gonna
to
follow
that
that.
point. We are the younger aunties where we, like we said, we are at that sweet spot. We know people that's 20 years old. We have family
Yeah.
members that encourage them, talk to them, be open and honest with them about your journey, because I think sometimes we do each other's a disservice by not telling the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
Because see,
I've always had it together.
they always gonna process like, well, my situation is far worse because I didn't get a whole story. To me, guess
Yeah.
what? I'm gonna get bare booty butt naked with you. Cause guess look, my
Baby.
mother, she did not. I won't say like she didn't care about your feelings. She did, but guess she knew that your feelings could be something that you could recover from. But she was gonna give it to you just straight and raw and just deal with it, because she knew what the world was gonna offer and to give was going to be so far more worse than this lesson. So yes, it's great to be the talented 10th, but he said turn around and help that 90.
Yep.
They can benefit from your stories and stuff like that. Tell somebody, make that on your to-do list. Tell somebody in a 20s your story, a story that would definitely help them, something that you wish you had known. If you give it to them, you don't never know how much of heartache, headache, hard times that you can save them. It may be something they had to put on the shelf for later, but it could
It's
be
gonna
there.
come up. It's gonna come
Mm-hmm.
up. I love that. I love charging you guys with tell your story, help somebody, but we also want y'all to tell people to follow us.
Oh yes. Yes.
Tell them to follow us. Tell them to like us, share at the 40 spot B40 spot on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all those great places. I just had to put it in. It kind of felt like we
Yeah,
that
absolutely. And for those, if you don't, you can catch us on the replay, and you can follow us wherever you get your podcast from and everything. I know we have to do some more uploading of that, but we're going to definitely try within the week have all of our episodes up into this week uploaded and everything. Again, like, comment, follow, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you're on YouTube. Leave us a review. Leave us a review. If you think that we have good content, please let us know. Hit like, let us know. Slide in them DMs. It's
yes.
all right. It's okay. Slide in the DM. Look, this may be the way you slide in our DMs. Tell us something. Maybe it's somebody that you like or something like that. Just give you a little bit of practice. Get out your comfort zone. Go ahead and holler,
Get
holler,
out of
holler,
that
holler,
box.
holler, holler.
Hello. Hello.
Holler.
But before we move, we do want to say we have a couple shout outs from the 40 spot.
Hey.
Yeah, music. Hey, hey.
Yes. I would like to shout out my sister. Her birthday is in 5 days, December the 9th.
Hey.
She's still in her 40s. I ain't gonna say how old she is, but guess what? She's just 18
To the
months older
40
than me.
Club.
Yes, yes, yes. And today, a good friend of mine from Chicago, Ramad, today is his birthday. I know he is 42 papers in the wind. He is having him a good time. Birthday fell on the weekend. So he done been turning up. So guess what? We definitely would like to give him a good shout out. Also to our brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Today is their Founders Day, so we would like to wish all of them, those ice cold brothers, happy Founders Day, and just wish them, many, many more years of success in what they do, doing the work in the communities locally and at all of their universities that they have chapters.
I have two birthdays too. One
All
is
right.
Alice Carmel. She just turned 40, honey. She is in Morocco right now, but enjoy. Also not today, but yesterday was one of our big followers, Erica. Her baby turned 18, honey. Her baby not a baby no more. Lord have mercy. I remember when Jada was a little witty baby, and now she's 18. That's wild. Renee says, happy birthday to her nephew, Jabin. His birthday's on the 15th. Anybody else have a shout out? Let us know in the comments. Y'all, we love to celebrate life, birthdays, whatever's going on. So please email us, DM us like Renee said. It'll be at the40spot@gmail.com if you're emailing us. If you're following us on any of our platforms, it's at the 40 spot, the 40 spot. Please let us know what's going on in your life. We love to celebrate life. We love to celebrate with everyone. You know, we only have one life, so we gotta turn up. We gotta turn up and celebrate for each other, even if it's not your time.
Exactly. That's pretty much it. And Fernette said, congratulations to my nephew Jariah, who finishes his senior year this month. Hey. Also, you know what? For all of the December graduates of all the HBCUs, PWIs, all of the Black people that's getting ready to, get into some for real adulting after college.
Hello.
Congratulations to you. Right. Congratulations to you. And my alma mater, oh my God, I forget her name. Her name is Simone. She was a MSNBC correspondent. She's going to be the speaker.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So we definitely welcome her to the Nashville area. I hope that it's going to be live. So I would love to hear what she has to say, because she's like in her 30s. So she ain't that far removed, but she has done some great things. So yeah.
Well, guys, y'all have a wonderful 2 weeks. We will be back. When are we coming back?
On the 18th.
December 18th. So we have a little bit more than 2 weeks because of the holidays. Is that in 2 weeks, child? I cannot count.
That is 2 weeks.
That's in 2 weeks. So December 18th. Come back.
Yes.
We will be talking about the holidays. What am I talking about? We'll be talking about the holidays. We'll be talking about the what did he say? Was it horrific or holiday? Something like that.
Like your best and worst holidays.
Maybe. Like but we'll be talking about the holidays, leading up to the holidays, child. Y'all can check in.
Yes, and follow us, because we're doing our 25 days of Christmas, where we are highlighting small business, Black-owned businesses and stuff like that. If you do have a business and stuff and you want us to highlight you on our page, please let us know. If you have a discount code, if you're sending something or whatever, let us know. We put that in there too.
Yes.
So just keep looking at our page for our 25 days of Christmas.
Yes, and it's called Happy or Horrible. I couldn't get it. I'm like, let me look this up. So it's December 18th. Holidays. Is it happy or is horrible?
Yes, absolutely.
You guys have a wonderful 2 weeks. And remember, if it costs you your peace, it's too expensive. Absolutely. Talk to y'all later. Bye.